Greetings, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome back to another episode of the SavvyCat Podcast. I'm Savvy.
I'm Cat.
And together, we are SavvyCat Podcast.
Hey.
I feel like that's very self-explanatory. I don't know why I always feel the need to say it, but just in case, you know?
Yeah.
And what are we talking about today, Kat?
A very important issue, and one that's very purity culture. I was going somewhere with that, but I lost it. So
I understand that. Your brain kind of moves at a different speed to your mouth, and then it gets confusing.
Yeah.
Purity culture. There's a lot that goes along with that too. And as usual, we're most likely not going to get to most of our points.
Yeah. I promise we do write out like a list, a structure so we can follow along. We don't ever do that. We're
going to have to go back over all of our other episodes and just go back to our other notes and just do part 2 for everything. Like our capitalism podcast, that wasn't even meant to be about capitalism. That wasn't the topic that we were meant to talk about.
Oh well.
Oh dear.
Oh well.
Also, look at my earrings. These are functioning bubble ones.
They're fantastic.
I'd just like to show them off for a second because I feel
Go
like
for
I
it.
have to.
Yeah. Stunning. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Amazing. 10 out of 10.
Thank you. There's still a bubble floating.
No, don't pop it. No.
It popped itself. It popped when it hit the mirror, and that is a mood.
Speaking of popping, let's talk about popping a cherry.
Oh no! Oh no!
Sorry, I wanted to make that one. I wanted to make that joke so bad.
That was a 10 out of 10. Quality segue.
Oh my god.
We stand. Queen of segues. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, so virginity. I feel like it's made there's a very big deal around virginity and purity and things, and the idea that your virginity, your virtue is there's something to protect and hold on to, and you can only give it to the right person, and then you should only have sex with that one person for the rest of your life, and that is the best way to live.
No.
The fact that they teach that at some schools too is terrifying.
The concept that, like, because I was about to say, like, a person's purity is most important, but it's a woman's. It's a woman's purity. That is.
They never teach that to men.
Not really, no.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
Virginity is a female construct, and I mean, it comes from it. Like, people literally say virginity is like when your hymen breaks.
Mm-hmm.
Men don't have hymens, so thus they can't lose their virginity.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
Cis men don't have hymens.
Yeah, cis men. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really like it comes from that thing of like, you know, back in the day when men would like choose their young 14-year-old bride from a family that they can have complete ownership, and one of the ways they did that was owning their body completely and their purity, and so if they were touched by any other man, that means like
they were used goods.
Yeah,
basically
exactly.
They were used goods because they were property. And if someone touched them, it was stealing their property. Like, legally.
Yeah.
That was a legal thing. If someone, like, touched their wife, they were damaging their property.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And they talk about it in this fact, it's like, you've got to choose who to give your virginity to, as though you're giving something to them, like it's something to give.
Yeah, it's like
nothing
something
to
that
give.
Yeah, something that, like, it's like, I don't know, something that they have, like, the right to take.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Like it's a physical, like almost they genuinely say, like, you're giving them a piece of yourself that you can never get back, as though, like, there's going to be part of you missing. You don't lose anything when you have sex.
No.
And if it's not consensual, then it's not sex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in that instance, you do lose something, but that comes from, like, that's trauma. You feel like something was taken from you, which is a fair enough response to that. You don't lose anything, but you feel as though you have.
Yeah, because it's two different things. Sex, when we say sex, we mean consensual between two partners. That is consensual and agreed upon by both parties. In terms of non-consensual things, that's not sex, that's assault.
Yeah.
And that's illegal and wrong and should not.
In that, it's like a lot of people's first sexual experience is non-consensual. For women, it's a much higher percentage. I can't remember the exact number, but it is a much higher percentage than it should be. It should be 0, obviously, but it's a higher percentage than I ever knew.
Mm.
And it causes this, like, really awful internal battle of this thing of, like, because it does feel like someone took something from you, but you coming to the understanding that you can claim back your virginity if you want to. You do not have to count that. You do not have to be like, my first time, the time I lost my virginity was when this person assaulted me. You don't have to count it. That's not your first sexual experience. Yeah, you choose one that counts.
Yeah, like we just said, that's not sex. That wasn't your first time having sex. Yeah.
Which is, it's such a difficult thing to come to terms with. And, like, but yeah, you have the power of what counts as your first time. And again, it doesn't have to be, the idea that sex is just, like, penis and vagina penetration is very, very heteronormative as well. So, like, it doesn't have to count as your first time at all. You can count whatever you want as your first time. It is up to you to decide that.
Exactly. It's your life. It's your body and experiences.
And everyone's going to have different classifications for different things. And everyone's going to think different things count. And that's okay. It is up to you to decide. It's like oral. It's literally got the word sex in it. Oral sex. You can count that as sex in itself. A lot of people do. And I think that it should count.
Yeah.
Again, up to you. You get to classify whatever you like.
Yeah. And, like, yeah, it comes from that whole thing of, like, you know, you have to, like, people always say you have to, like, be really careful around sex, pick and choose, and be really, like, you know, it's like you can have sex whenever, with whoever, as many times. Consensual. Yeah, as long as sex, not assault.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, we talked about this already.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like there's nothing, it's just, it's like if, I don't know, it really doesn't matter as long as you're happy and comfortable with it and
do whatever you want with your body.
With it. Yeah.
No one else is allowed to tell you what to do with your body.
Yeah.
And
you're no less pure.
No, because purity, it doesn't make any sense. Right, like we said, it's like implying that someone's taking something from you and that makes you damaged goods and like...
Yeah, it makes you, like, the opposite of pure is unpure. It's dirty, it's touched. Like, that's not, people aren't things.
Exactly.
That you can, like, mark or ruin. It's like, they're people.
Yes, and like, it's just... And another important thing is, like, your sexual history has nothing to do with anyone else.
Yeah.
The only person, like, and the people that you're sleeping with, it can be as many people as you like. You don't have to disclose anything other than if you have an STI or not. That's really the only thing they need to know about your sexual history.
Well, I mean, like, you don't need to disclose anything unless it directly affects them.
Yes.
So, like, your past sexual history, like, your history about it isn't...
Like, the number of people you've slept with.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have anything to do with them.
It doesn't make a difference at all to the experience that you are going to have.
Yeah.
It's like... literally makes no difference.
Sex with different people is gonna feel different every single time. And even if you're having sex with the same person, it's gonna feel different every single time.
And everyone's into different things, has different preferences.
Yeah. It's like your first time with someone is going to be different from your first time with someone else. You know? Exactly.
And, like, that's another thing, because a lot of people, the misconception, a lot of people have that thing of, like, well, if you're a girl and you're sleeping around, your vagina gets loose. That's not a thing.
That's not a thing.
That's not a thing. That was a thing created by men to shame you. That is not a thing. Your vagina is a muscle, and it, like, expands to have sex, and then it, like, contracts, just like men... people with penis, they get, like, erect, right? When they're, like... Your vagina gets, like, deeper, and it expands when you are aroused. Which is interesting. I think a lot of people don't know that.
No. Yeah, definitely.
But it's a muscle. It's like a rubber band. You pull it, and then it goes back in. And that's how it works. Yeah.
Which, by the way, we say it's like a rubber band, like, in a positive way. Like, that's like, it expands, and it goes... But that whole shit that they pull in schools where you're like, you're a piece of tape, and if you stick yourself to someone and then pull it away, then you can't stick yourself to anyone else.
I've never heard that before.
Haven't you? They compare you to, like, a piece of tape. So, like, if you're a piece of tape and you're, like, sticky, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you put it on a piece of clothing and then take it off, it gets less sticky. And if you keep putting it on somebody else's clothing and more clothing, then you can't stick it to anything else. So it's like a piece of gum. If you chew a piece of gum and then someone else chews a piece of gum, it's, like, tainted, right? That's what they use as purity culture. So the more people you sleep with, the less sticky you get.
I hate that.
Haven't you ever heard that before?
No, I've never heard that. I mean, I went to a very progressive school. We basically got told, have sex with who you want, when you want, just be careful. Yeah. So... that was what we learned at school, which I feel, at least that's what I remember learning at school. I feel like a lot of people don't learn that. But our health teachers were also, like, openly, like, sort of like, yeah, when I was at school, I got suspended for, like, smoking pot on campus.
Nice.
They were very, very, I guess I was very lucky to have, like, it was partially inclusive. With, like, they literally said at the start, they're like, at least 3 people in this class are gay. And that's how the term started.
That's cool. That's very cool.
But, yeah, I feel like that... Why did you teach purity culture at school? What's the point? Why did you teach that to anyone? What?
I remember very clearly. For a year, I went to an all-girls school. And... all of our sex education was to do with not even periods. It was about sex with men. It wasn't even about periods.
Did you still have to learn, like, because you went to an all-girls school, did you still have to learn about, like, the male experience and, like, draw diagrams of penises and things?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah. We also never learned how to put on a condom or anything like that, so...
What did you do? What?
Yeah, it was a lot of, like, don't get pregnant.
But then they didn't teach you how to put on a condom.
No, because it was a lot like, you know, don't have sex if you don't want to get pregnant.
I don't understand why they teach that. Because we got taught sort of, they're like, the legal age of consent is 16, but anyone can buy condoms and get birth control because you can't stop people under 16 from having sex. So if you are going to, be safe, but remember that the only way to ensure you don't get an STI or get pregnant is abstinence. We learned that that was the best preventative measure, but we weren't told that that's what we had to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that every school in New Zealand was like that.
No.
I forget how progressive my school was. I forget how great it was, because I guess I just assumed everyone was the same.
Yeah, I remember very vividly, like, we went to a school dance. And we were an all-girls school, so we paired up with an all-boys school, and that was, like, kind of our dance. And they split the hall in half, so, like, half of the girls were on one side and half were on the other side.
What?
We weren't allowed to... We had to be on opposite sides of the... I remember that very clearly.
Understand. See, ours was, like, actively encouraged to bring a date. It was cheaper to buy 2 tickets than 1.
That's so cool.
And the cutest couple at the ball was a gay couple as well. They were voted cutest couple.
That's so cute.
Because that was like a sash that you got, and they were cutest couple. It was great. And I think one year, like, best dressed was a trans girl.
Oh, that's cool.
We were a very, very inclusive school where everyone supported everyone and it didn't matter. Like, all the popular kids were all bi. All of them. Guys and girls. It was just... I just thought everyone was like... I lived in a bubble, man.
Yeah, you did.
We had... I never... Why aren't all schools like that?
I don't know.
It's so stupid. And all it... Oh, man. Everyone needs to take note. You know, they got rid of the sex doctor, though.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Why? It's because they use too much money on the school rebuild that the government won't give them money for the sex doctor anymore. And I'm mad about it.
Yeah. So, like, if we taught, like, a better sex education and had sex doctors or anything like that at schools, it's like... Then people would grow up learning that, like, it's not, like, a big deal.
Yeah.
It's like, as long as you're healthy and safe about it, then it's like anything.
Yeah, it's just so... It just doesn't make sense. I guess it's this thing of, like, I can't even... Like, people say look at it from both perspectives. I just genuinely, like, I struggle to see the other perspective a lot. Like, I understand it in terms of, like, I know what they're saying, but the reasoning is very, very
because it's also, like, a double-edged sword. Like, you know, we as women, we're taught, like, you know, we have to keep it until marriage. We're not allowed to have sex. You know, it's usually like postpone it as much as you can, blah, blah, blah. If you do it with a lot of people, it's tainted, blah, blah, blah. But, like, for men, they're also pressured to have it early. Like, but
also being gay is wrong, so they can't have sex with each other.
Yeah. But, like, I don't know. I feel like men's virginity is, like, a big, like... Hooray, you've done it, it's fantastic and brilliant. But, like, there are asexual men. There are men who don't want to have sex. That's the thing, and that's no less wrong, you know?
It comes down to a decision that you make. Yeah.
But, like, the whole thing of, like, losing your virginity for them would be, like, I don't know, a rite of passage to a woman's body, because now they own someone. So, like...
And it always comes down to being, like, the woman's fault if something bad happens. It's like, well, you shouldn't have sex. I'm like, well, and it comes with, like, sending nudes and things, right? Like, if a girl's nudes, like, get leaked, it's always, well, you shouldn't have sent them, rather than he shouldn't have shared them. It always comes down to her being shamed and being like, well, you should be more careful with your body. You shouldn't show off your body. This is why you shouldn't. And it's like, No. What she did was there was consent there, and sending someone naked photos of yourself is you saying that's a consensual agreement there.
Yeah.
And it's illegal for them to share those.
Mm-hmm.
And that's their fault. There's nothing wrong with sending nude photos. Nothing wrong with it. You can do that.
Not.
As long as it's consensual. Don't send them to someone who doesn't ask for it, because that's harassment.
Yeah.
Sending nude photos in a consensual thing where you've asked and you've agreed, totally fine. You go for it. You do you.
Yeah.
But when they break your trust, that is their fault.
When they break your trust, like, the legal proceedings, because you said it's legal, but, like, the legal process to sue them for that is disgusting. It's disgusting.
They will blame you. They'll say you shouldn't have sent them. That's what they'll do.
They'll blame you. Some police make you retake the photos so you can prove that your body, that's actually your body.
Do they do that?
Yes, they do that. It's disgusting.
That makes me feel very ill.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
A lot of the time, it happens with minors a lot as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like a lot of teenagers at school. And you learn at school, they tell you don't send naked pictures, but they never tell you don't share naked pictures.
Yeah. No, I remember I was brought up very much, not only don't take naked pictures, don't take any pictures. I was very much grown up in the philosophy of anything you post online can be tracked back to you. If you take pictures, if you film a video in your room, someone can scan your room, find out where you live and attack you.
What?
Yeah. Any selfies you post online can be found by creepy men. And I was very much no social media brought up.
I was told some of that stuff as well, and then was just like, I stopped caring.
Mm.
But I never got it to that extent.
Yeah. Yeah. I still have, like, a lot of fears.
But who's gonna track you down? Why would they do that?
I don't know, but, like, there's a possibility of it happening. So it's just kind of like, don't put yourself into that position because
there's a possibility. But that's like saying don't drive a car because you could crash.
Yeah. Yep.
Don't go outside because you could get hit by lightning. What? Mm-hmm. That was a dumb example, but, it still applies. Yeah. It's just... Okay, well...
Yeah. It's... The whole concept of, like... You can't live your life because there are bad people out there. Instead of, don't be bad...
Yeah.
Or improve the criminal system so the bad people can be caught. Like...
Abolish the police. Defund the police.
Yes.
Fix it so that we have actual protection.
Exactly. Because now the police are the bad people. So
many shit fucking times with the police.
That's not what we're talking about, though.
That's another story completely. It's kind of along the same sort of topic line, though. We won't go into it, but it's just police don't take women seriously.
They really don't.
A lot of the time because there's far too many men who are guilty, and by taking women seriously, it's them having to admit that they've done wrongdoing and they don't want to do that. Yeah. So they'll be like, well, this isn't actually a problem. He did nothing wrong, because it's something they're guilty of as well, and it's their way of covering up their own guilty conscience. Yeah. Because a lot of men, it's this thing of, right, like, every woman has or knows another woman who has been sexually harassed or assaulted. Mm-hmm. And just about every man knows a man who has sexually harassed or sexually assaulted someone. And a lot of them just do nothing. They're like, well, it's not my business. Which is being complicit. Mm-hmm. It's like that thing at the moment, right? It's not enough to not be racist. You have to be anti-racist. It's not enough to not assault someone. You have to call out people that assault people and tell them that it's not okay.
Yeah. It's like if you have 100 bad cops and 2 of them are bad cops and the other 98 don't say anything about their activity and let them continue it, then you still have 100 bad cops.
Exactly. You can't just stand by. We learnt that at school, being like bullying. If there's bullies and you just stand back and watch them, you are the problem. You are part of that. And we learnt that in like what, when we were 11? Probably younger?
Yeah, much younger.
So it's the same thing, but on a larger scale. You can't just stand back and watch something happen and be like, well, it wasn't me, so it doesn't matter. It's like, would you watch someone murder someone and be like, well, I didn't get murdered, I didn't murder them, so... No, you'd call the cops. Not that we like the cops, but in some instances you still kind of need them.
Yeah,
at this
you do
point
need
in
them.
time.
It's not... Yeah.
We still want law enforcement. We just want them in a different way.
Yeah. We want law enforcement to actually follow the law.
And change the law so it's not, like, racist and things like that. We want to reevaluate everything because nothing has changed for far too long. Yeah. The law was built on the back of racism.
The thing that, sorry, going back to the cops, I know that's not what we're talking about, but the fact that cops don't actually study law.
I know!
Frustrates me.
I know!
So much.
Here, there's this person that I'm talking to, and they were looking at going into being in the police force, and they have an optional course on racial bias and racism. It's optional. It's an optional course that you can take about racial inequality and incarceration and looking at your internalized like racism and unconscious bias. But you don't have to do it if you don't want to.
That's like me taking my literature course and then them just going, oh, you don't have to study grammar.
Write this book report, but you don't have to read the book.
Yeah, exactly. Write this book report about what it has to do with the author's life, but you don't have to actually research the author's life or any of the history behind it. Not at all.
Oh, stupid. You just write an entire essay based on the blurb.
And then after you get the essay, you also get a gun with it. That's what we're... Yeah.
It's not funny.
It's not funny.
It's not funny.
It's really not funny.
Oh, God. It's all just such... Man, it's... Another thing, I'm sorry, I'm going back to, like, purity culture for a second.
Yeah.
And about, like... I like for a second, that's, like, the theme. But, like, when it comes to being pure, they also count, like, people who believe in purity culture and only want to sleep with pure people. I don't want anything to do with them. And I don't like their viewpoint. But the fact that they class someone who has been sexually assaulted and raped as losing their purity is vile. Like, that's where it comes into a lot of, like,
or, like, you have to ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
You look at a lot of the places that have really strict rules against women, and women get thrown in jail for being raped. And it's like... The fact that still happens.
Can you name one right women don't have?
Oh, I know. People say to me, they say that, and they're like, well, if you want to talk about like those problems, go to those countries. I'm like, you realize that happens here too?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like things like honor killings, they happen in the UK.
Yep.
They happen in the US.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They don't just not happen. Same with like female genital mutilation. That happens here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not legal, but it still happens.
Yeah.
And not much is done about it.
Yeah.
And no one talks about it.
Yeah. It's like the thing that I was saying, that you have to take photos of your body to prove that it's your body in the leaked nudes. Thereby, that's American thing. That's an American rule.
Oh, I 100% would have imagined it was an American rule.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to not only send them male them.
Oh, it makes me so uncomfortable. It's also been...
To men you don't know.
Well, it's also legal in, how many states? A bunch of states, I can't remember the exact number, to have sex with people in police custody.
Makes me so angry. It makes me so angry.
I just don't... But everything is fair. There are no laws that violate women.
Don't have.
But it's not a legal right, so it doesn't count. It's like that's not a right that women don't have. It's just a right,
it's a right that men
affects women very badly.
Yeah. It's not a right that women don't have. It's just a right that men have.
But then there'd be the argument of like, well, women are cops too, so but they're not gonna. They're not usually 99% of the time.
To you. But women can also be misogynistic.
Yeah, that's another thing, right? You get people being like, they'll say things like, well, some women think this. I'm like, yeah, and some women are sexist.
Yeah.
What's your point?
Yeah.
It's like black people still hold prejudice against other black people. That doesn't... Mm-hmm. We are raised in a society that teaches us racism and it teaches us sexism. Mm-hmm. And we hold that internalized misogyny, internalized racism, internalized homophobia. And that can come out sometimes. So yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes some people of colour have a subconscious bias against other people of colour. No one is denying that.
No. But the whole point is that we don't want it taught in the first place. Because it is a taught thing.
Exactly. It's a taught and learned thing. No one is born with those biases. They are ingrained into us.
Yeah.
And we want to unlearn that. It's like, Kat and I had this really long discussion the other day where I started getting really confused about, like, gender. And, like, the fact that if we didn't gender anything, we didn't have, like, boys' clothes and girls' clothes and things that women do and things that men do and any difference between that.
If we didn't have the words boy or girl or man or female, if we didn't have those things in the first place.
And there was just a removal where nothing was like, this is for this is for that, this person does this. Then there would just be the physical difference, the biological difference, obviously. And although, yes, there is... Because gender is a spectrum, right? Where there's, like, some really feminine guys and some really masculine girls, and then there's non-binary people, and then there's trans people and things. If we removed that, it's like there are people who would biologically feel wrong in their body, and they could change their bodies, and that is chill. Mm-hmm. But then there's no, like, you're not a real this, you're not a real that, you have to do this, you have to do that. And in a genderless world, I would love to live in a genderless world.
Yeah.
And it's possible,
so
because
great.
gender is a social construct. And in a lot of, like, indigenous cultures, there wasn't gender. Not really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not that hard. Just, like, treat everyone the same. Don't say, because you have a penis, you have to do this, and wear this, and act like this. You just have to. I don't make the rules. Yes, you do.
I'm still angry at the one who must not be named.
Yeah. God. That was such a good video I sent you though, right?
That was, yeah.
I love him. I love him so much.
I'll link that in the description.
Yes, if you want to watch like an in-depth sort of video, it's an hour long, but definitely worth the watch, about why J.K. Rowling is homophobic, and her like essay that she wrote. It kind of goes into it. It's a trans man and his fiance, and they talk about, and they both are doing like doctorates in like gender and things, and it's a whole, they just pick apart the essay and why it's transphobic, and it's really, really good. It is really, really good, and they are very, very well spoken.
I'll put it in a card in the description as well. I highly recommend you check it out. It's very cool.
I love them so much.
They're very well spoken.
They are incredibly well spoken. Jamie, he makes a lot of videos about being trans and what it's like being trans and his experience. So if you are a trans person or you are questioning your gender, I do again recommend his content.
Yeah. Or even if you're just like a cis person
and you want to know more. Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
And you should. People should know more. Like,
and it's interesting. It's all very well and good having conversations between like two cis people about gender and transgender, but you're never going to have a complete perspective. Like Kat and I were having this conversation about gender and being non-binary a couple of days ago, and it got to the point where I was like, this is a conversation we can't have anymore. Yeah. There needs to be a non-binary person here. We started sort of trying to speak on their behalf, and we can't do that.
Yeah, we did have to draw the line of, at some point we don't know. We don't know that experience.
And that's okay to not know things.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know what a person of colour will feel.
No.
And I know that. And that's
and
fine.
I don't know what gender dysphoria is like.
Yeah.
I can't ever comment on a trans person's experience because I can't imagine experiencing those things. And so when you want to talk about that, you can't ever be like, oh, well, it feels like this, without consulting a trans person and getting their experience on what it feels like and using like their words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think, because it's like, it also links into like purity culture and stuff like that. It's like you get a lot of like other people telling you what your experience was.
Yeah.
And it's like, they don't know. They can't know. And you get a lot of this thing of like, oh, my experience is blah, blah, blah. But basically the only way we're ever going to progress in society, ever, is if we listen to each other. And we understand each other. And we respect each other. That's it. That's all we have to do. It's very, very basic. But incredibly also hard for some people. You have to listen, and you have to understand, and you have to let them speak.
And then just respect them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, you can do and you can think whatever you want in your life. Absolutely anything. But the moment you start dictating what other people should do and think and act, or if your thoughts and actions directly hurt someone else, then that is wrong. Then that's a problem. And that's when you should listen.
And like she said, you can do it, but it's gonna be with consequence. Like, people can you can't get upset for people calling you out. You're like, well, this is my opinion. It's like, yeah, alright, you have an opinion, but your opinion is actively hurting other people. Yeah. And they are allowed to tell you that, and you should listen to them.
Yeah.
Your goal in life shouldn't be to hurt people to protect yourself and your views, because at the end of the day, you're not protecting yourself, you're protecting your set mind state, and you won't change it to benefit other people where it makes no difference to you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
respecting people costs $0. It affects you in no way to respect people.
Yeah. If a large group of people is telling you that you hurt them, I understand the impulse to get defensive over that, especially if you didn't have bad intentions, but you did do something wrong, obviously. If a large group of people is going, you hurt me, and you're actively hurting me, and all they want is just you go, I am sorry, I understand that I did that, and I will not do that anymore. And then you don't do it anymore.
And it's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
That goes into a whole... That's a problem I have with, like, cancel culture and things, but that's a whole other topic that we do not have time to go into right now.
Yeah.
But it's that thing of, like...
playing in my head.
Kat did a good video about, like, cancel culture. If you want to check that out, it's really good. You should watch it. It'll be linked in the description.
Or just stream BTS.
Listen to Kat's lyric analysis about it, because it's very, very good, and she explains it very well. And listen to it as well.
It's a good song. It's a good song.
But I feel like lyric analysis is like so good because it really does help you develop a better understanding and perspective.
Exactly.
And you are very well articulated, my friend.
Thank you.
But there's that whole idea of like, you don't have to forgive someone but you can respect and understand that people can grow and change. And the second you stop being like, you did this bad thing, so I'm never going to forgive you, you're kind of encouraging people to not change, because they're like, well, if people are going to hate me regardless, why would I put the effort into improving myself?
Definitely.
And not saying that that's an excuse for their behavior, but it's just that if you, they're not going to want to change and stop hurting people, because people are selfish.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like, I hurt these people and they're mad at me, but I mean, they're going to hate me and be mad at me even if I stop hurting them, so I may as well keep hurting them and not put effort into it. Because
it's like, there's a difference between being upset and calling out bad behavior and being angry, between being malicious and just...
Yeah. Well, it's like sending death threats and things. That's never okay.
Never okay. Never okay.
Death threats, threats of harm, doxing, anything like that. No matter what, never okay.
Sorry, you said doxing and I got very upset.
That shit, no matter what happens, well, except for in those circumstances of like when people leak like Derek Chauvin's address, I'll forgive it in those situations. Other than that, in almost every single situation, it's not okay. Like if it's someone who's... The thing is the internet gives people power. We all know this, right? Yeah. People say a lot of shit on the internet that they would not say to your face.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't going to... there are a lot of people who are going to go out there and be transphobic in person, but a majority of the people on the internet who are like transphobic, who are racist, who are sexist, they're not going to do it in real life.
Yeah.
They're not going to go up to your face and say something terrible to you. There are people that are going to, but a majority of them won't.
Yeah, it's like going back to the purity culture thing. Girl defined.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. All of their videos about purity culture and stuff like that, it's like, they say it in front of a camera and stuff like that, but I guarantee you they would not say that in front of someone else's face. I guarantee you it'd be like wine night in like a wife group, a newlywed group, and someone would be like, no, I didn't save it for marriage, and they would not say that in front of their face. Ever. I guarantee you that.
I don't know. I feel like they're pretty arrogant.
They would say it in their book, and they'd go on and make a video about it, but they wouldn't say it to their face.
Fair. Yeah.
Or if they do, then they're directly contradicting the point of women can't have an opinion. So.
Yeah, that's true, because they say women can't have opinions, don't they? They don't make sense.
They also say women can't have a career, and they actively make money off of YouTube. So
I know they've got to turn off they've got to turn off all monetization and then donate all money from their book to charity. Otherwise, they have careers, and they're not allowed to, according to them. Yep. What about the transformed wife?
Don't get me fucking started, my dude. She would say it. She would say it.
She definitely would say it.
Oh, yeah.
She's that woman. We love all women except her. Oh my god. If you don't, you should watch. He's changed his name. He's not Mr. Atheist anymore. Jimmy Snow. He makes really, really good content. He talks about all these things. He is so well articulated. Like, he speaks so well. Like, I've learned a lot about feminism and religion from him. Like, making my content, I don't think I'd be able to make it so much if I hadn't found his channel, because he's taught me a lot. Yeah. He's so well spoken. He's, like, more of a feminist than, like, any feminist I know. He's, like, genuinely, he is an incredible person. And he's not afraid to talk about his past mistakes and things as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is good. He's like, I fucked up a lot in my past. I made mistakes. I hurt people, and that is not okay. And I have grown and I've evolved, and it's great.
Yeah, which is what you're supposed to do.
Exactly. I like that we just like we went from like talking about purity culture to just promoting two people's channels.
We did.
And our own 4 channels. I made a video I made a sex education video. That's my turn for my self-promotion now.
Yeah, go for it.
I made a sex education video. If you wanted to watch that, I sort of talk about virginity a little bit on there. Not a lot, but I sort of talk about what sex is between two people with vaginas and staying safe. Because as we said, we don't talk about that a lot in sex education. We sort of learn, do not have sex. Bad.
Yeah, which to note, in an all-girls school, I never learned half of the things that she talked about, and I was in an all-girls school.
I had a lot of people comment, like, there was a woman who was like 27, and she's like, I didn't know most of this stuff, and I'm like, it's so sad that we aren't taught that stuff at school.
I think it's amazing that you are, like, making videos about it, because, like, a lot of people...
Who else is gonna do it?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man, it's incredibly frustrating. I feel like... And I mean, some of it applies for straight couples as well.
Definitely.
Like I was talking about, like, dental dams and things. Like, that still applies for heterosexual couples, but it revolves around a woman's pleasure, and you never talk about women's pleasure. No. Sex education is extremely... Because if you talk about vagina pleasure.
Yeah. If you talk about vagina pleasure, then it might think that it's okay for them to have sex before marriage, and that is then they might want to have sex, and that's awful. That's
bad.
Awful.
Thumbs down.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. We don't stand in this house. Which I think is like, oh man, it's just a mess.
Yeah, to wrap this up, because we're closing down on time.
To wrap this up, you can have as much or as little sex as you like. I feel like we said this last time. As long as you take precautionary measures and you are safe.
Mm-hmm.
Disclose, if you have an STI and you don't disclose that to your partner, you are taking away consent. Because they aren't consenting to having sex. Like, just... Thought I'd put that out there. If you are aware that you have an STI and you do not tell your partner, then that's not a consensual thing.
It's deceit. So
yes,
that's
get also, tested.
Yeah,
that's
I was
another
about to say,
important
get
thing.
regularly tested.
After like every new partner, you should get tested.
Yeah.
It's nothing to be ashamed of.
No. It's like getting, I don't know, you go to the doctor, you go to the dentist.
That's one thing that bothers me a lot. I'm sorry. Again, like, you know, with the whole, like, 90 Day Fiancé with Big Ed and thing. I was terrible. Mm-hmm. But there was one thing that people kept being, like, offended by, him asking her to get an STI test. Like, I understand that it can seem, like, a bit abrupt, but I feel like that's a reasonable question to ask.
I think they were more offended because he didn't do it himself as well.
That's true. I never heard anyone sort of talk about that. Yeah, I feel like both of them should have to do an STI test. I feel like it's a reasonable thing to ask as long as you both do it.
Yeah.
That's really it, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's not unreasonable to ask a partner to get an STI test, and if they don't, you continue to use, like, protection of whatever method.
Yeah, definitely.
But yes, have as much or as little sex as you like. Wait as long as you like. You get to choose what counts as losing your virginity. That's not up to anyone else. You get to decide what counts as sex.
And there's no such thing as being a pure human being.
No.
Like, that's not... You don't have to have that label. You don't have to keep to that label. Don't put that label on anybody else.
No. You are your own person and no one belongs you or can tell you what your body is or is not.
Yeah.
Your clothes do not equal consent. Nothing you do is consent other than explicitly saying yes. That's the thing. Only yes means yes.
Only yes means yes.
So no means no.
Only yes means yes.
Because some people freeze up and shit and that's not consent. So no means no, yes. But only yes means yes. Mm-hmm. 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So, with that, there are links in the description for donations and petitions for a whole bunch of issues. There's Black Lives Matter stuff, Yemen, Poland, and then a whole page of other issues that need help.
Yeah,
so feel free to check
petitions,
that out.
There's donation links, there's videos you can stream.
Emails to send to MPs.
Stuff. Yeah.
So,
Sav
check that out.
A lot of time compiling it. So
It took me a while.
It's very well structured and very easy to navigate. So.
Thank you. As well as all of our socials. We have a Patreon.
We do have a Patreon.
We're currently saving up for new stuff.
Yeah. Thank you, Amy, Iz, and
Emily.
Emily.
We appreciate it so much. We are saving up for like new recording equipment.
Yeah.
I am currently having to save up for a laptop because mine is about to just break forever.
Yeah.
We are doing a giveaway at 50 patrons, which is exciting. So
yeah. And Sav's merch is coming soon, so
yes, I'm very excited.
Me too.
Thank you for coming along. The
Yeah.
biggest thank you in the entire world to Emily, Amy, and Iz. Again, we love you so much. Your support means the world.
Yes.
Thank you for coming along. We love you. Bye.